Hello and welcome to Just a Girl and Her Firefighter. I'm Kristy Hilmer, your host. Grab your favorite drink, whether it's coffee, fizz, or maybe something else, and let's dive into the wild, wonderful world of first responder life. We are here to swap stories, share laughs, and tackle those "did that just really happen?" moments. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just figuring this all out, this is the place for you. So kick back, get comfy, and let's have some fun. Here we are today with a new friend that I have not gotten to meet before, but we were connected through a mutual friend, and we both get to live in the amazing state of Texas, which is awesome. We got connected through the internet, which seems to be a very common way these days. But I'm really excited to just hear her story and hear really what life has been like, married to a firefighter, raising her family, and working a full-time job at the same time. So with that, let's kick it off. So Kaci, why don't you introduce yourself to us and kind of what your family looks like?
Okay, well, my name is Kaci Walden. I live in the Texas Panhandle in a little oil town called Border, Texas. I'm married to my husband. We're going on 9 years in April. We have two boys. Bryson is 16, and then Ty is 8 years old. So, and I am a full-time mom, wife, and I have a full-time job. And any extracurricular activity that myself signs myself up for or someone else signs me up for. So,
Right? Like the children, I get signed up for all sorts of things. They're like, oh, by the way, oh, by the
yeah,
way.
yeah, that and community events and all sorts of things. So,
Yes, absolutely. Well, and in the Panhandle, they recently just had a very devastating wildfire just last year, right?
yes, it was, I believe that they ruled it the largest wildfire in
Mm,
history. Um,
wow.
that was, it was interesting. It was a moment of unknown
Hmm.
uncertainty, like our day-to-day lives completely changed. Not just the people who were affected and lost their homes, but just the people that are either families of first responders, families of a family that lost their home, pastors, counselors. It was it was undescribable, I guess you could say. It's kind of emotional thinking back on it, but just to
Hmm.
think of the impact that it had on everybody in this area.
Hmm.
Just seeing, farmers losing what they rely on for an income to provide for their family and things like
Hmm.
that. It was crazy.
Absolutely. Yes, I can 100% relate because we went through a devastating wildfire as well in a different agricultural climate and in a different state. But yes, it impacts more than you expect it to impact, and it stays with you forever.
Yes, it
Hmm.
most definitely does. I still feel like we're still feeling periodically ripple effects from
Hmm.
it. Um, I mean, it happened back in March, and so here we are, December. So we'll be coming up on a year, and there's still people that are displaced from it. And,
Hmm.
it's kind of hard to think like, will everyone ever make a full comeback from it? So
Yeah. And was your husband working during that fire?
my husband did get called out to it because it seemed like it was at everybody's back door and surrounded
Yeah.
this entire town. He was called into our city department to go in and help because it came in on a highway, I guess you say more to farm to market road that was
Okay.
everyone's back doors in that area
Yeah.
that's out there. And it like he had no words for it when I finally got to talk to him about it. He was just like,
Hmm.
we stood there kind of helpless, like,
Mm-hmm.
what do we do? This is not something that we were ever fully prepared for, ever would expect to happen or something like that. And he just, I mean, you could hear the devastation just in his text messages.
Mm-hmm. That's okay. I 100% understand. We are 6 years out, and it will still, every once in a while when you talk about it, and that's really the point of these stories, right? Is because there are so many people that go through so many similar situations. And if we don't talk about it, then they stay buried.
Right. And I can't say that I've fully talked about it
Hmm.
since it all happened. It was a situation where it was just like I just had to keep the household running, you know,
Hmm.
take my kids to and from school, their regular activities, but driving around town, even just driving to our football stadium to drop off my son for his morning workouts. There were so many fire departments just posted up there. There were
Hmm.
portable showers set up. Um, like the Tide truck that you would never think would come to Border, Texas, just
Hmm.
for people to do laundry and everything. It was just, there was somebody everywhere you turned, and we're not used
Hmm.
to that here. We're small town living. Like
Yeah.
you can expect that probably, in the DFW area, there's something everywhere you turn. But this was just something completely different.
Hmm.
Just trying to explain to my youngest at the time, what all was going on. Um, he was asking just so many questions and
Hmm.
mainly just emotional about when was his daddy coming home.
Hmm. It's one of the hardest questions. When we went through that fire, it was the first time the kids were like, "Is Dad gonna not make it?" It was like the first, and it's when they see mortality, and I think that's one of the things that make first responder kids different is they are exposed to some things, no matter how hard we try to
Oh yeah,
not talk about it or see it. They just are exposed to that and they can see. And what I think the beautiful thing of that is that they then get to realize how precious life is. And
yeah,
it's like, then let's actually live the life we have instead of just exist. And so, yeah, it can be a beautiful thing that they learn. But as the mom who is home while dad is out doing very dangerous things,
yes.
it makes for challenging questions at home.
Oh, it does. It does. I mean, he drew pictures of
Hmm.
was seen, and just seeing that was just, you never know what your child's truly thinking. And so seeing that was
Hmm.
like being in his head, seeing
Hmm.
from his aspect of it. But yes, um, sometimes we have to carry a huge weight on our shoulders as, you know, the moms and the wives in the situation
Hmm.
that you almost don't want to share because you feel like you feel selfish
Hmm.
trying to share that because you see someone else on down the line without their home,
Hmm.
lost their family pets and everything. So you feel like that kind of trumps the emotional state that you're in sometimes.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that was a very trying time, I guess you could say. Just trying to put that brave face on, be the strength, for the
Hmm.
family in the moment of absence of
Hmm.
my husband and everything. But we were very, very lucky, having so many responding cities, really.
Yeah, they came from everywhere.
Like, there were places I've never even heard of. And there were places that just reading the sides of their trucks was just like, they really know that we exist and
Mm-hmm.
are here in a heartbeat just to come help us. And
Yeah,
that's
it's a
really,
beautiful, yeah, it's a
yeah,
beautiful thing of what the fire service is,
oh,
to have that. It's like
definitely.
it literally is a family.
Yeah.
Hmm.
In the light of the darkness, there
Yeah.
was just kind of like, wow, and just awesome and amazing to see. Um, just everyone come together, just seeing every food truck come from miles around and just handing out meals, not even charging anybody, just handing out meals to everyone. The church is just opening their doors for people to have a place to go. I mean, it was really an amazing thing to see the community come together.
Hmm.
And I think that is something that we kind of need really badly in this day and age because
Hmm.
the world is a scary place, but we need those reminders that
Hmm.
still really good people in this world and that will come together and help anybody and everybody, no matter what.
Absolutely. Yes. We talk about that with the kids often. It's like you guys got to see firsthand like the good of humanity,
Yes.
and not everyone gets to see it to that extent, to
Oh, yeah.
where you get to see so many different types of people come together and like drop anything and everything and help, and not with an agenda.
Exactly.
There were those, but majority did not have the agenda.
Well, I mean, that was the beauty and that whole thing is just seeing everyone come together um, and just everyone extending their homes for people. We had some good friends um, come over. My husband actually got called in, and her husband is a firefighter as
Mm,
well, but he's a fireman in Amarillo, which is about
okay.
45 minutes from here. But she spent hours packing up pictures and everything that was sentimental to her mother in her mother's house and got her out safely with all of her belongings. And then only to get home to be given, seconds to evacuate her home.
Mm,
Just walked out without anything, just had her kids and her dogs and told her to come over and cooked on dinner and everything. But I truly didn't know what to say to someone in that situation. But I mean, I was just thankful and tried to remind her that at least you have, you and your children and your animals, like y'all are safe. Everything else can be
hmm.
replaced. And I know that's easier said than done.
Hmm.
We do think about that. We think about our home. We think about the memories we put into it. We think about all of the pictures that we have and just everything that was ever passed down um, just in our home from someone special. And
Hmm.
just having to think that it's all taken away just in seconds really hurts us in the moment of that time. But
Hmm.
at the end of the day, you realize the most important thing you have is, your family. We're lucky enough to be able to go back to their house and have a home and have all of that. So,
So
um,
her house made it?
her house made it. Yes.
Oh, good.
There for a while, you had to show your driver's license even to get into that neighborhood, just,
Yeah.
to keep from people sifting through other people's stuff, that was pretty sad that we did have those people that would go through others' ashes of their home just to kind of take whatever they want,
Yeah.
which was pretty wrong, but you know,
It was about 6 weeks before we could go back to ours and go sift through everything. So, yeah, it's a process.
right. It is a process. And I mean, I'm thankful we lived really close into town, so it didn't come that close to town.
Hmm.
It was a lot of the kind of out of city limits neighborhoods that it really kind of took over, but it made a complete halt in Borger because we have a wildland firefighter team that houses at our station.
Okay.
And they focus on doing a lot of controlled burns all around our city. And they make sure that they, get rid of all that brush and everything. And
Yeah.
they will go through and do controlled burns and everything. And you can see there are photos of it. And they'll show the burn areas and, all the burn rashes where that fire hit
And then stopped.
and then just took a sudden stop. And that is all thanks to them.
Yeah.
They're the ones that protected our town and were able to be proactive just for years prior to this. They've just continuously done this. And we had no idea that what they did had such a big impact until this huge historical fire. So those are some things to think about, I guess, with other departments is
Yes, controlled burns,
yeah,
legit.
we're,
California should listen.
we're proactive in this. Like no one wants to plan for a huge wildfire, but I mean, you have to be proactive in it. You have to think about it. What's going to help protect everyone in our community to help? And if it weren't for those guys, who knows? Our town probably would have been just wiped off the map with that fire.
Yeah.
That was something that was really cool to see, and probably something that they really need to pat themselves on the back for, that they don't just show up to work to do this for nothing. Like that really should have been a rewarding moment for them to see that.
Yeah, absolutely. And then hopefully we don't ever see another one again.
Yes.
But now we have our proof, and then we can move on and they can put it in the history books.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you for sharing. We didn't know we were going to start out with a bang.
No, definitely not.
But thank you for sharing that. So, over the last 9 years, then, as you guys have been married, and then I'm sure, met each other before that, what has firefighter life been like? He was probably already a firefighter, I'm assuming. Okay.
Yes, I came into it and he was already a firefighter. So I didn't get to go through like him making the decision that he wanted to do this for a living or through the academy with him or anything like that. But I met him as a firefighter. So.
Yeah. And how was that transition? Because I've heard from many people, sometimes they're like, it's better to go through the academy, and some they're like, it's better they're existing. It all just depends on your perspective, I think. But how was that transition?
Um, it was a learning curve to learn the schedule.
Oh, yes. And what kind of schedule is he on?
Okay, so we've recently changed schedules. We used
Okay.
to be on the Kelly schedule, and
It's terrible.
I find everyone says that, and I really like the Kelly schedule.
Oh, see, I had young kids, so I think that's a factor.
Yes, maybe so. I really enjoyed the Kelly schedule, but they switched over. So he is two full days on, 4 full days off now.
Okay, 48.96.
Yes. So
I think most stations are kind of transitioning to that schedule, it seems like.
Are they?
It's my favorite.
I don't know. It took me so many years to get used to the Kelly schedule. Now they throw this schedule, and I'm like, I don't know about this. But he does not stick to that schedule. He will be there 4 days straight and then have a couple days off and go back.
By his choice or the department's choice? Or a mixture?
I guess maybe a little bit of both. But my husband, if someone needs coverage, my husband's the first guy to be there. So that's just his personality. That's him. He's a really good guy. I mean, not just because he's my husband, but
yeah,
I believe that any one of those firefighters will say that. But I mean, Tell will be the first person there for him. Tell will be the first person that says, all right, you go home, do what you need to do, be home.
Right.
I'll be sure to cover for you or whatnot. So, and being shorthanded too right now, he's
Yeah, it is a tricky one. Like their schedule, and we talk about this often on most of these episodes,
right.
but their schedule is great when it is how it's supposed to be. It's
Yes.
that it's not usually ever how it's supposed to be.
Because if it's what it's supposed to be, it's easier for me to plan out. But
Yes.
when it's not, it's like it puts a kink in everything and I've got to rearrange and figure it out.
Yes. But I've kind of learned like in the 4 days he has off, I plan the most crucial things on the third day because it's the least likely day to have any kind of overtime.
I will tell you, when it works out how it's supposed to, it works amazing when we need to
Yes.
take vacations. Like he doesn't have to take a whole lot of time off. It's me that has to work my work schedule.
Yes.
So
Yeah. The 9 to 5 kind of schedule.
yeah.
Well, that is a great question too to go into then with working full time and then you're raising kids and going into this fire schedule. What are some things that maybe you've done, especially with your little 8-year-old who's kind of grown up in this, to maybe help that transition or when they were little and they didn't understand when dad was gone? Like, what did you find any cool techniques or things that you did to help kind of maintain that? I don't know if bond is the right word, but maintain kind of that presence.
I know as when he was littler, we would go up to the station a lot more than we do now. I guess
Yeah.
now he's got more activities, so it's harder. But when he was smaller, it was easier to just go up to the station just to kind of show him, like, this is where dad is, this
Hmm.
does. But um, Ty is a little too smart for his own good.
I think we all have one of those.
Yeah. So he is very aware and very alert and knows anything and everything that's going on. And
Very
he,
perceptive.
yes, very. So he's always known his dad is a fireman, which
Hmm.
to little boys, even if their dad is not a fireman, that is just a superhero to them.
Hmm.
Um, I think something is just kind of bringing it down to his level. Like, daddy has to be, at work to be able to help other families. So
Hmm.
that's just kind of been something to bring it down to their level. Let them understand that there are other families that need help from him. So that's
Hmm.
why we kind of have to share our time, with
Yeah.
work. That way he's available. And him just seeing, because we're a small town, if they get a call, you hear those sirens no matter what.
Oh, like it is small town.
I mean, he's very alert and he's like, the boys got a call. I wonder what it is. So, and if we're able to watch them, we'll watch them, drive
Like
by
drive by. That's kind of cool.
out, without being the ones that are in the way.
100%. Yeah, because we get told about that at home, about all the
Yeah,
people that are in the way.
it's not just for you to go for an attraction. It's not entertainment. It's just more
Yes.
out of the way. But
Well, and living in Texas, this is the thing I have noticed. People don't move out of the way in the streets. Like it is different. I was like, even like California is different in all of its ways, but you move over. Like if there is a siren or a truck, an ambulance, anything, like you are moving over. And in Texas, I have noticed for as much respect as they have for fire and police, like it's a super high level of respect on the road, they do not move over.
no, that's why all of our signs on interstates and stuff say, move over.
Yes.
To tell everyone to move over, but yeah, we normally have to roll down the window so Ty can wave at them. So,
That's so cool.
oh,
I took my son for his birthday. He wanted to just go to the zoo with a few friends. So we hopped in the car. It's about an hour from where we actually live. And that's closer to where my husband's station is. And we were going to go do a fire station visit because
yeah.
it was only 5 or 10 minutes from the actual zoo. So we were going to go after that, but it took too long, parking and traffic and all the things. And there was an accident. And so we got stuck. And I mean, then in Texas, accident, like they were going over the ramp to like get out. Like it was a whole thing. But then we saw the engine, and my son's like, "That's my dad. Like that's my dad right there on the side of the road." So it was kind of cool to show his little buddies that like we literally drove by my dad at work. For us is very rare. But in
Right.
a small town, yeah, that would be pretty cool. It was when they were little, every ambulance was dad or every fire truck was dad. And you're like, well, not really, but you know.
I now Ty has every truck. He knows every truck, the
That's
names of,
better than me.
and he can point them out, and he knows when, like, with him being in sports and everything,
Mm,
it falls on.
hmm.
Sometimes tells it on shift, but he makes every effort that he can to be there. And so Ty will see if either the tower pulls up for his baseball game or
Right.
he knows all the boys are coming to watch him, and he will put on a show just for them.
That's so cool. That is the beauty of a small town. Like, I'm sure there's pros and cons,
Oh, yeah.
but when your whole response area is your town, you can go stop if there's no call to
Right.
go watch a game or a concert or something like that. And that's pretty cool.
Exactly. So that's kind of been something, I guess, to help Ty too, is we're small enough to where Tel can attend his games and stuff.
Hmm.
It's also more of an excitement for Ty that not just his dad gets to come.
Yeah.
I mean, every guy that works up there is one of the boys to Ty. So,
Yeah. Yeah. The boys are coming. They're watching.
so oh yeah.
That's incredible. That's very cool. Well, what has been maybe something you didn't expect or a struggle that you've had to work through? Because there are definitely usually a lot of those in
Yeah.
this.
There are I believe the first struggle that I really had was because when I met Tel, I was a single mother.
Okay.
And so that transition into meeting him wasn't a huge shock with me. Like he was
Hmm.
gone half the time and then he was around the other half of the time because of his job, just his schedule. But after having a second child into the mix, instead of me being used to just having one child and can manage it,
Hmm.
having a newborn and tending to a newborn, but also, getting my older son to his activities and all of that.
Hmm.
There was a time that Tel was gone for, I want to say, at least 7 days straight to the station.
Wow.
And having a new baby and all of the, added
Hormone and sleep.
hormones.
Yes.
I mean, I remember sliding down on the floor in our kitchen on the phone with him, and I was like, I need help. Like, I can't do
Hmm.
it. Like, I'm about to have a meltdown. And I think Ty was sick. I mean, he was itty bitty baby. And I was just like, I need you here. Like, I need you.
Yeah.
And so it was definitely a learning, something to learn from, but it was tough at the time. And I look back at it now and I'm like, why couldn't I handle it?
Because you become a crazy person
Yeah.
when you have a newborn.
Yeah.
Between the hormones and the lack of sleep, like it is, because I had this same exact thing. My oldest was 6 weeks old. We only had her. He was doing like an internship and working full time. And I called him, like, I put her in her crib and I can't, like, I'm tapped out. Like, I can't do this anymore, and it's a humbling experience. But I think what you're talking about too is in the lesson of let's not let it get to that point. Like
Yeah.
instead of getting to a 10, let's have the conversations and the communication when I'm a level 3, as in like what can we do to help prevent some of this? Because sometimes we can't prevent the mandations. I mean, not sometimes, anytime you can't prevent them, but sometimes over time or having a neighborhood babysitter or just some things that can help us so we don't get tapped out so fast. But communication is the number one thing we had to learn.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yes, that is definitely the number one key, I mean, to having,
I mean, any marriage, any
yeah,
relationship.
yeah. And definitely if you are having to, be both mom and dad while at the station and just chasing after two kids, taking one here, taking one there.
Yes.
Definitely communication is it's been a struggle. It has been, we've learned from that. So let's make sure that we don't do that again. Like
Yeah.
you have to tell me and I have to tell you. Um, that has been something that really hit us this year, after that big fire.
Hmm.
Not only that, just having new and young firemen that he has to look after and everything and
Hmm.
help them, guide them, and to deal with certain situations that they see and everything. And so
Yeah.
he ends up carrying that, you know,
Mm.
home with them. And he would just simmer on it and just wouldn't talk about it. And he finally opened up and was like, I just need to vent and everything. And just me being there to be able to listen to him and help
Hmm.
support him and be the person for him to vent to so that he can clear his head again to be
Hmm.
able to be the husband and the father we need him to be here at home, but also being a captain just in the fire department and just being able to be, you know, there fully for his guys. So,
Absolutely. One of the episodes, and by the time this comes out, it'll have been published, but I talked with firefighter Fenton and his wife, and he talks a lot about that, of like the leadership and like you have to turn that off. And my husband and I have had to talk about that too, of like you turn that part off because at home you're dad, which is another leadership role, but it's a different kind. Like it's not a dictatorship role.
exactly.
And like becoming kind of these almost two variations of the same human, but also the mental health perspective of it, of that debriefing and that communication with us, with maybe a peer support and whatever it is that's set up. And that is something that seems to be getting better in the fire service, but has a massive, massive way to go.
Yes, absolutely. So, yeah, communication is one thing. And yes, just to keep him in the right headspace, being in the profession he's in, uh,
Hmm.
is just very important because if he's not in the right headspace, it can easily carry on to us at home. It can easily carry on to him as a leader and trickle on down his staff. So I do think that he does a very good job at keeping that, at bay for his guys. He just had to learn to let it out here at home. Like just what is upsetting you, what is affecting you that you need to get off your shoulders so that
Hmm.
we can pick up and have a nice family dinner, go out and enjoy an evening with the kids and take a cruise around the neighborhood or something like that. And so that's been something we've learned in the past year. Just giving him the time to kind of let work
Be
come
at work.
and then transition back to home. And I think it works with us with him getting off in the morning, the kids going off to school, and me going off to work. It does give him that time to
Yeah.
settle out of that.
It's a crucial component to kind of having that successful reintegration, because that's one of the biggest things is it's that reintegration of home and work and home and work, and they have to do it so frequently. This was awesome. Who like we didn't know what we were going to talk about, and here we go. We talked a lot about good things.
Right. So,
So this was great. Well, I am doing something a little different with season two. We're doing a little bit of fire trivia, some other fun questions too. So we'll start with some of the funner ones and then we'll go into the trivia and we'll see. You might be a better listener than we are. Your son probably actually would know all these questions, it sounds like. Okay, so this one's kind of fun. If you had a siren, what personal life event would you use it to get somewhere or to do? Like if we got to have the fire truck and we didn't live in Texas and people moved for us to go through, what would you use that for, that power?
To get my kid to school.
Yeah, so we could sleep in or like not have that morning fight.
It's a chore with the youngest one. You never know what mood he's gonna wake up in. So
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, some days we can wake up 2 hours before we need to be somewhere and we're still not gonna make it.
Yes. That's a good one. Okay, this one I thought was really funny, and it's been interesting to see people's responses. Would you rather wear turnout gear on a date or a firehouse t-shirt to a wedding?
I would do the turnout gear on a date.
That's what I said too. And the last lady, and who knows what order I'm going to put these in, so who knows how this is going to actually turn out. But she said firehouse t-shirt to a wedding, and I was surprised. So now for our fire questions, we'll do rapid fire questions here. What are irons? I know. I'm like and he told me these are easy. I'm like, I don't think so.
Either. The only iron I know is the one I use to iron his pants.
Right? Exactly. It is what they call the flathead axe and the Halligan. So I'm guessing they say go get the irons and then it's those two tools, maybe. I don't know.
Right?
Okay, what is IDLH stand for?
IDLH.
No. I didn't know that one either.
I'm
Um,
seen it somewhere, but I would not know what it stands for.
I don't even know if I'd seen it. Like he messaged me because he texted me like the questions for all these interviews, and I'd never even seen it before. But it's immediate danger to life or health. I'm like, when you hear it, you're like, oh
That
yeah,
makes
duh.
sense.
And then this is my favorite one because I feel like he had made it up. What is a taxpayer?
Is this a trick question? Is this supposed to be a piece of the taxpayers? Anyone in this community?
I know. It is a structure where the business is on the bottom and then the like apartment or living quarters is on the top. I'm like, I mean, I guess maybe because business,
Yeah,
they live there, taxpayer.
I was about to say I should know this because our town
Is it
was
made like that?
off of that. Yes, we are Boomtown, and every business had an apartment up top because the business was on the bottom for during the day and the apartments were up top.
Yeah.
Or the more rated R version was like the brothels.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. So now you can impress him at dinner and be like, oh, you know that taxpayer fire you just went on or whatever. Be like, I know what they are. Okay, my last question that I ask every single person is in how do you drink your coffee?
With creamer. Lots
Now,
of
do you
creamer.
drink like creamer with your coffee or coffee with your creamer?
Probably more so creamer with my coffee. Like it almost white.
That's funny. I drink my coffee black. And so really I ask these questions to find where are my fellow coffee drinkers who drink their coffee black, and we are few and far between. Thank you so much, Kaci, for taking this time and for just really sharing and being so open and vulnerable about all the things that have happened in a small town and being married to a firefighter and what all that entails as we are moms and business owners, workers, employees, all the different things. So this was a blast, and I'm so grateful that we had a friend introduce us and we got to talk today.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for listening to Just a Girl and Her Firefighter. It would mean the world to us to have you subscribe, like, share with all the people you love, and join us in our firewife community. Thanks again, and see you next time.